Hey guys, we're back! Today we're talking about another TV show that I just finished. Now, I'm a little late to the game on this because the show aired from 2011 to 2017, and I watched until about 2015 when I graduated high school. And then as soon as I went to college, I kind of just stopped watching it because of I wasn't really able to. But today we're going to be talking about Teen Wolf. And if my focus is off, I don't know what my camera is doing, so I'm really apologetic about that. But in celebration of talking about Teen Wolf, I'm wearing my Beacon Hills lacrosse hoodie. Gotta love this. Gotta show it off. I got Stilinski, Baby Styles. Fun fact: I've had this since I was 16, and I also used to have a McCall one and a Dunbar one, and I don't know what happened to them. Really upset about that, actually. But I used to work at this burger place down the street from my house, and it was this hole-in-the-wall family-owned thing that is no longer alive. And there's a Beacon Hill neighborhood in Seattle, and I'm pretty sure they have a Beacon Hill high school, or so I was told, because a lot of people would come in and see this sweatshirt, because I'd wear it a lot while I was working, and they'd be like, "Oh, do you play lacrosse for Beacon Hill High School?" And being the awkward 16-year-old I was, I didn't like to disagree with people, and I was like, "Yeah." And it's funny because it literally just says Beacon Hills on the sweatshirt, so if you, take 2 seconds more to read, you'd see that it does not say Beacon Hill. But yeah, I was like, yep, that's me. I play lacrosse, even though I have a lung disease. It's fine, it's fine. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I'm getting so annoyed with this. So if you see me looking down, I'm fidgeting with my phone because I can refocus it with my phone. I think I just need to turn... Hold on. Okay, I think that's fine. Let's just hope I don't have to show you anything on my phone because that's when it gets annoying, but I think I'm in focus. But yeah, so we're gonna talk about Teen Wolf today. Ha ha ha. I'm 22 and I just finished that show. So yeah, I just finished. I watched it all the way through finally. I started at the beginning, so I rewatched a bunch of it. And I finally got to where I kind of stopped, and then I continued. And I got punched in the heart. In the nostalgia. I got punched in the nostalgia because when I first watched the show, I was, I was the age of the characters, not the actors. So it was big for me because I started watching the show at about 15, 16, and the show starts off with Scott and Styles at 16. And for a second I was like, why do they look so much older towards the end? And then I was like, because it took them 7 freaking years to go through 3 years of high school. The show technically has 9 seasons. Even though it has 7 seasons, because you got season 1, 2, 3A, 3B, 4, 5A, 5B, 6A, 6B. So the show's got 9 seasons, 100 episodes total. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it. It's all available if you have Amazon Prime. But I just kind of wanted to talk about how some of the things ended in the show, and I don't really feel too bad about spoiling things since the show did finish about 2 years ago, but there will be spoilers, so if you haven't seen the show and you still want to watch it without there being spoilers, I advise, watching it and then coming back to this. If you don't care about spoilers, forge on. Let's just jump in. Let's just jump right in. If you've watched the show, we all know about Mr. Styles Stilinski, or Mishislav, as we finally find out his name, which is the most ridiculous name, Michislav. And the only thing that really pisses me off about that is because in season 1, the sheriff, Styles' dad, is having a parent-teacher conference with the coach, and they show part of his file, and it shows the last part of his first name, and it ends in L-A-M or some weird thing like that, and I was like, disconnect. There was a disconnect here. So they apparently didn't know what his name was at the very beginning of the show. And then we've come to find out that it's Michislav in season 6A. Michislav. I just can't get over that. That is so ridiculous. But now we all understand why he was called Styles. But we know from day 1 that he is head over heels in love with Lydia Martin. Throughout season 3 he kind of gets over that, gets past it, meets Malia, starts dating Malia. And then they date for a few seasons and they kind of break up though. What annoyed me was we never really got an actual real breakup between them. They just kind of stopped being a thing, which was weird. Finally, come season 6, Styles gets forgotten because of the Night Riders, which is a whole big long thing that I do not want to get into to explain. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, obviously you just need to go watch the show. Towards the end, right before he kind of disappears, the only one that can remember him is Lydia because she's a banshee. And we see, this really cute scene between them where he's like, you have to find some way to remember me. And she's like, I will. And he's like, no, you're going to forget. And he's like, remember, you were the first girl I danced with. Remember how I had a crush on you freshman year? sophomore year, junior year, and they're in senior year, so he kind of just doesn't say that because it's obviously implied. And then he's like, remember that I love you. And I'm like, excuse you, my heart got ripped out. Like, what you trying to do, MTV? Put me in cardiac arrest? Because rude, I'll send you my hospital bills. And then, you know, he gets ripped out of the car and forgotten. And, you know, Scott and Lydia slowly, you know, figure it out and everything. And this very last episode, I think of season 6A, he comes back. You know, he escapes whatever weird dimension he was in, you know, because everyone's remembered him at this point, and they, without realizing it, they've all helped him escape. And he, you know, he goes to the hospital to find Scott and Liam and fight with them. And then he goes back to the school, and we see him in the boys' locker room, about to be, I think, attacked by a Night Rider or whatever, and then Lydia comes in and saves his butt with her, you know, amazing banshee powers, and she just looks at him and she's like, I never got to say it back, because while he's gone, you know, she realizes that she loves him, obviously, which we all knew forever, and then he's like, you don't have to, and finally they kiss, and oh my gosh, our Stydia shipping heart is okay and fine and good, and that was like the best reunion you could have asked for, and then that's all we get. So Styles is played by Dylan O'Brien, and he was only in about 3 episodes of 6A, but he's listed as main cast. And then he's listed as a guest appearance in season 6B. So, you know, we see him in the very first episode of 6B where he's gone off to college and he's going to become part of the FBI. And then we see him in the very last episode of 6B, which was, oh my gosh, I got so angry about that. Like, I get why. Oh, no, he had been filming Death Cure, and then there had been a really big accident. He'd gotten really hurt, so they had to postpone some of the filming for both Teen Wolf and Death Cure, which... glad to hear he's doing better last I heard, but he kind of fell off the face of the planet, so for all I know, he could be dead. But I hope he isn't. Like, you know, we barely get him in season 6, and then we finally get, you know, in the last episode of the show, we get all of them together again. You know, they defeated all the evil, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, we all see them walking away, but the entire 2 episodes he's in, we do not see him even look really at Lydia. We see him walking next to each other, and that is all we get. After 7 freaking years, they finally get together, and then we get nothing. And let me just say, that was so infuriating. As not only a viewer, but a writer, that's not how you write things. No. So mad about that, but I'm complaining about the show that ended 2 years ago, but whatever. I'm still so bitter about that. Yeah, and some other things happens, like, as we all know. Allison, who we all love and cherish, who dated Scott seasons 1 and 2, dies in season 3 due to Styles and the no Kitsune in season 3B, but she dies. And she dies in Scott's arms in the most beautiful and heartbreaking scene ever on television. Probably not, but it's up there. You know, saying that, you know, this is right, I'm dying in the arms of my first love, the person I'll always love, and it's like, okay, that's fine, you just stabbed me in the heart. And while I remember being really mad at them killing her off, even now I still look back at it and I'm like, well, it sucks. They did it right. You know, you never want to see your favorite characters die or leave a show, but they did it right, in my opinion. That was the best way they could have, you know, killed her off, because, you know, the whole thing later, her dad is talking to her aunt, and he's like, her aunt's like, Allison is dead, and he's like, Allison is dead. She died protecting her friends, and he's like, what would you die for? Who would you die for? No one. But I thought that was really beautiful. But then we kind of see, you know, Scott and Kira getting close, who Kira came in season 3B, I want to say, or season 3A, season 3 at some point, and Kira's around for a few seasons, and then she leaves because Kira is a kitsune who cannot control the fox spirit inside her, so she has to go figure out how to do that. And that's fine, and, like, we see Scott, you know, without a romantic partner, which I didn't find an issue. Come season 6, Scott and Malia start to have a thing. And I watched an interview from a Comic-Con that was, the Comic-Con was after filming season 6, but before it premiered, or season 6B, I think. And, you know, the showrunner was like, yeah, we just wanted it to feel natural, and it felt like a natural progression. No, it did not. Let me tell you, dude, not a natural progression, even remotely. Holy crap. What were you thinking? That was the weirdest coupling. It would have been better to leave them both single. It would have made more sense, especially for Malia. But it would have been so much better to leave them both single. That was so weird and forced. Like Malia, she, you know, she was a were-coyote and she was a coyote for 8 years. So when Skiles and Scott rescue her, she has to learn how to go back into society, and she uses Styles a lot because he's very patient with her. And, like, he's her anchor. But her personality and Scott's just clash in that sense. Like, they work good as friends and partners when it comes to fighting supernatural crime. But it was, oh my gosh, it felt like the most forced relationship I've ever seen. I don't know. Overall, the show, I love it so much. But towards the end, it made me a little angry because it's like you built this great thing. You built it up so well. And then you do these last-minute decisions that felt very weird and forced and unnatural and not good for the show. And it felt just very cheap and like a cop-out, which is really sucky because they had such a large fan base. And I don't really know actually how other people felt about this. Aside from one of my friends, we talked about it a little bit when I was streaming the other night. I think the show is great, and I love it. And I'll be probably making one of my friends watch it with me over winter break, which is going to be a bad idea because it's just going to wreck me again. Like, I think what was the big issue with the show was at the time I was watching the show, I was also rereading Looking for Alaska, which I read when I was like 16. And I was listening to a lot of old music I listened to when I was 16, like One Direction, just for some feel-good happy things. And I think all these things together made me feel this overwhelming surge of nostalgia that like literally made it so I couldn't breathe and get out of bed for a few days. It's hard because it's like, I don't miss high school. I miss that time. I miss being young, but I just miss who I was and what I was doing at that time. I miss being able to see my friends more. I miss not having real world responsibilities. So it was hard to watch all of that and just take in all of that different content that I experienced as a teenager. And it left me feeling very empty and depressed, and like I couldn't get out of bed most of the days. I did because I had to because of school and work, but it was some of the hardest stuff I had to do, and it was kind of really crazy. I will still forever love the show. I've had this sweatshirt for 6 freaking years, guys. 6 years. The sweatshirt is old. I love it so much. I love the sweatshirt a lot, and I will love the show a lot, and I will love these characters forever. You know, they were some pivotal characters, and you know, this show was one of the pivotal things for me for writing. It inspired me a lot, and it still does to this day. It was really sad to be a longtime fan of the show and kind of see how they treated the last season. The last 2 seasons even. It was just like 5 and 6 as a whole. I don't mean like 6A and 6B. I mean 5A through 6B. It was just very frustrating in a way. I think overall, though, the ending of the show was good. There wasn't some big, sad cliffhanger. I think they did us right in that by giving us somewhat of a happy ending, you know, like the ending being like they're off to do more for what they can for whoever they can, but there wasn't some big unknown threat we were given at the very last second or anything. We just see our beloved characters finally feeling confident and happy and having their pact together, and it was very satisfying in that sense. But overall, I love the show. Definitely recommend it. If you haven't watched it, I definitely think you should. It's, like I said, available on Prime, and I'm sure you can pirate it somewhere. I didn't say that, obviously, because that's illegal. But that's going to be it for me today. If you enjoyed what you saw, don't forget to give me a like down below. It really helps me out. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe so you can see more things I talk about. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one. So, later, nerds. Bye!